Second question, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Talk less, listen more.
It's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
We're trained to be talkers for some reason. I think a lot of us, we hear our own voice and we're used to talking, but you can learn so much by listening.
Yeah.
It's a great piece of advice. Okay. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what's a piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Okay. So I think about this a lot, not in the sense of what I would tell myself, but in my own parenting. What did I learn, or what would I want to have done differently or unlearn? Because we're all, I feel like I'm still learning and growing today, and hope I do till the day I die.
Yes.
But with my children, and something that I wish I would have embraced more fully younger, is to be okay with failure.
Mm-hmm.
I always say one of the most impactful talks I ever listened to was a guy named Henry Cloud, who wrote Boundaries. And he said, if he could tell parents one thing, that's the main thing, it's teach your children it's okay to fail, and to fail well, fail forward.
Yes.
That, because people would, now looking back, I'm like, golly, if I would have stepped and embraced that, because I was a pretty sensitive, I like to do things perfectly. And the older you get, the more you're like, that's boring. That's not even, embrace the imperfections, And so the big thing is that failure is a part of the learning process, and you're going to fail more than you're going to win. So you have to be okay with it.
Yep.
So I would definitely just wish little Beth with her blonde curly bro head would have accepted that life was just it was bad. I'll share a photo one of these days. I know.
I had a bowl cut once, and then my mom got it permed. So yeah.
That was not nice.
No, it was not at all. Third grade Michelle living in a new city was not.
No.
We all have those
We
stories.
learn from the humiliating moments.
Humiliating moments. I know.
Find the good in all things. That's another thing I'd tell my younger self. There's something good.
Sure.
It's like the speaker this morning said, from his pain came the greatest. And it's so true. It is so true. Those hard moments is when we grow.
You really should have warned some of the people in the room.
I know. I'm sorry.
Whew.
But man, I'm so proud.
My eyes were like burning from my makeup.
We just got to do things that matter.
Yeah.
And those are at the end of the day. That's the things that matter.
You could go back and talk to your younger self. What's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Oh my gosh. I think I would say slow down.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah.
In what way? What way do you need to slow down?
I was in a hurry to be an adult.
Yeah.
I was eager for more responsibility. I liked independence. I always had this entrepreneurial idea for something. I sold return address labels that I made on my Apple IIc when I was a kid. Went around the neighborhood with my binder of clip art, and people chose their font and their little image. When we used to send mail. So I was just in a hurry to make money and in a hurry to grow up. And I think I took on a lot when I was a kid, and I think I would just slow down and have a little bit more fun.
Yep. Okay. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what would you tell yourself?
I would say a couple things.
Guessing that. Yep. Go ahead.
But first and foremost, I would say always give yourself grace.
Yes.
No one's perfect.
Yes.
No one expects you to be perfect. We're going to mess up. We're human. To be human is to err. So always give yourself grace. But the other part to that as well is especially in business, don't take things personally. Make sure you don't take things personally, because at the end of the day, business is business.
Yep.
Whether you work with a friend, not a friend, you keep those separate and just keep it,
Yes.
Don't keep taking personally. So
sometimes you have to make hard decisions. So,
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Question number 2. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what is one piece of advice you would give your younger self based on the magnanimous wisdom that you have today? So Katie, you can go first on this one.
Okay. I'm going to go first on this one, because I thought about this one for just a minute, and it's easy for me. I like tell myself to just chill out. I just,
But
I was so bad. Like, I was so freaked out about everything not being good enough all the time, that if I go back in time, I'd be like, man, just go for it. And if it sucks, fix it. If it's awesome, celebrate it.
I love that. Jeff.
Mine's pretty similar. I would go back, and for a long time, I think I was trying to prove to myself that I belonged. And I didn't want other people to know that deep down inside, I didn't always feel like I belonged, and that I didn't always feel like I knew not that I know what I'm doing now, but now I'm willing to accept that better and ask for help and listen and allow people in a lot more than I did maybe 5, even 10 years ago. And so that's something I wish I would have learned.
thoughtful, Jeff. I like
Yeah.
it.
Aw.
I like it.
An old man now, and that's what I have learned.
That's a good one, Jeff.
Old man now.
I have a 2-year-old daughter, so you learn things when you're a
I have a
dad.
2-year-old grandson. That made me feel really old. Yeah. Wow.
Not where I was going with that, but guess that's where we ended up.
That just hit.
Okay. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I just told you a minute ago. Girl, you need to calm down.
You've told me that a lot, and I'm sure you tell yourself that
I'm
a
a
lot.
little intense, or at least I have historically been a little too aggressive, a little too dominant, a little too extra. And so I'm just trying to learn to be more calm, more gentle, a better listener, and just relax a little bit.
Mhm. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Oh, okay. So still even a piece of advice that I give my kids now that I need to constantly remember and keep written down actually on my desk is if I don't know what to do, the best thing is to do nothing. And so that one I still take to heart all the time. And it could be anything. It could be work related, it could be personal related, but when I just kind of feel overwhelmed with something and I feel like I need to take action, the best thing is to take a couple steps back and say, time out. Is this really for sure what I want to do?
And do you find that that helps you bring you clarity then in the end because you paused and then you get the clarity of what you should do to move forward?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because then I feel, strong footed in my choice and my decision. And I know with my gut that this is what I want to be doing.
Okay, perfect. Okay, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you would give yourself?
I would definitely say, do not be afraid to fail. Like, try it, do the thing, because in failure, you learn. There is a lesson in every experience that you have, and it's only going to make you stronger, better, and more prepared for what's ahead in your life. So try it. Don't be scared.
That is great advice. Okay, if you could go back to your childhood and talk to yourself, what's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
One piece of advice I would give my younger self is always ask, because the worst thing you can hear is a no.
That's a great, nobody said that yet. That's
Really?
Nope. That's
My
a really good
dad
answer.
actually taught me that, and he passed away about 1.5 years ago. And that is something that he didn't tell me until like I was older. But I'm like, man, I wish I would have known that when I was younger.
Those-
Because if you don't ask, you don't have a chance. If you don't knock, the door will never open. Always ask, and always set yourself to a standard that you feel like you are good enough to ask.
Mhm. Okay, I love it. Okay, I can't wait to hear your answer for the next one.
Yes.
All right. So if you could go back and talk to little Lucy, what piece of advice would you give her?
Believe in yourself. I think that's fundamental. And then the other part of that is believe in yourself, and then find people that you can have a conversation with about their experience and how they navigated, whether that's family members or other people in the industry, or if you're coming up in school. Talk to your teachers and talk to your aunts and uncles and your other extended family members about their experiences, and really truly believe that you can do whatever it is that your mind sets to yourself, because that is exactly what I would tell myself.
Yes, I love it. Okay. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you would give childhood Michele?
I would say stop giving so much importance about what other people think. Yes.
Amen.
Yeah, I think my younger self was trying to, seek approval from
Yeah.
other people and trying to be someone else that I'm not. And
Yeah.
I think it's just embracing your differences, embracing, what makes you, your culture, the way you look physically, embrace every part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally agree. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you would give your younger self?
I would say don't learn what email's all about. Stay away. That for me, and I'm still trying to transition away from it, but from a business perspective, email has literally taken over my life. And now it's become something where people would rather communicate with you via email than talk in person, which is why this is such a unique experience, because we're actually getting to communicate and see everybody. But it's that balance of like really trying to detach yourself from the digital world and really go back to that human connection piece. And I feel like we're going more further into the digital, like getting away from the human touch of that first question, the customer experience.
Yeah.
And trying to make everything much more robotic and I don't want to use the word AI. That's like the buzzword these days, but really just trying to get back to the one-on-one, customer touch point thing. So I would tell
Yes.
myself, don't lose track of the one-on-one interactions
Mhm.
and fall into the digital world, especially being from the technology side myself. It's really not forgetting about those roots.
Yeah.
Going back to our whole, like, our children, I don't know if they'll know what a phone was originally designed for by the time they're our age. They'll be like, what is this whole calling people thing? We just text each other now, and we're okay with that.
Joey Coleman said that during the keynote today. He was talking about how, hey, did you guys know that this was invented to actually call people? Like, I don't know, with your latest update, you guys might not have that function on your
Right.
phone, but you're actually meant to talk to people on these
Right.
things.
We,
Yeah.
we used to be able to hear each other's voices
Mhm.
and respond in real time.
Yes,
We now take that for granted.
we do.